everybody, welcome back. Today is my 2025 introductory project pan video, and instead of me just telling you about the products, I thought what would be more interesting was if I was to do a full face of them. So that is why I am makeup free today. I did recently put up a planning to pan 2025 video where I spoke about the 14 makeup items that I want to finish off this year as part of a project pan, and I have 13 out of those 14 items in the project pan to kick off the year. So I'm starting off with a fairly large amount of products in the project pan. I like to keep it round about sort of 10 items because I feel like that's quite a nice manageable number without being too big or too small. But like I say, there's 14 items that I want to finish off this year, so I just thought, well, let's just include as many of them as I possibly can. So I will zoom you in a little bit and I can put on a full face of makeup. It's been a little while since I've done my skincare, so I'm just popping on a little bit of primer, mostly in the centre of my face for a bit of grip. It is the e.l.f. Power Grip primer, which I don't tend to use that often because I tend to just put my makeup on pretty soon after doing my skincare, and I don't often feel like I need to put on primer. But it has been a little while since I've finished my skincare this morning, so just a bit of primer for a bit of grip. This brow product also isn't in the project pan, but I do just want to quickly do my brows before I do the rest of my makeup, and this is the e.l.f. isn't the e.l.f. This is the ABH Brow Wiz. I've got mine in the shade medium brown, which is a pretty good shade match for my brows. And then just a bit of the Brow Freeze, also by ABH, over the top, just to kind of keep it all in place. Okay, moving on to the first product. It is my under eye corrector. This is the NYX Pro Fix stick, the correcting concealer stick. I've got mine in the shade yellow, and apparently they do have these in like peach and pink as well, but yellow was the shade that was suggested for dark circles. I tend to go for a bisque shade from Bobbi Brown, and where that has a bit of peachiness to it, I feel like that does a pretty good job of colour correcting my dark circles, whereas the yellow I don't think does as good of a job. So I'm not too keen on the shade of this, but also the formulation as well. It kind of clings to any sort of texture that I have under my eyes, and I don't have particularly dry under eyes or particularly textured under eyes either, but whatever little texture I do have there, it just clings to it. It just manages to find a way to just cling to it, and then it just highlights the fact that I've got on product. It's fairly creamy though, it's fairly easy to blend out. Not as creamy as the Bobbi Brown one, but I thought for about £5 for this, it's worth giving it a go, but I wouldn't buy it again, so that's why it's in the project pan. I don't particularly like it, so I would just like to get it used up. And it's fairly new, so I have this much left. I've got basically most of this to use up. Foundation next. This is a foundation that was in my project pan last year. It is the NARS Sheer Glow. It's staying in the project pan because it is about 6 months out of date, but it is still fine to use. It doesn't cause any reactions, it doesn't sting, it doesn't smell, so it's fine. I would like to get this used up in the first quarter this year, but I don't know how much I have left. I keep guesstimating that I've got about half of the bottle left, but I'm not able to look into the bottle and find out. I tried my torch or my phone, can't do it. Holding it up to the light, to the window behind me. I don't know how much is left in there. I'm going to keep trying though. I might ask my boyfriend to have a go as well, because there must be a way to see how much is left in there. Next I've got a bronzing stick. This is the Merit Bronze Balm. I don't have much of this left. This is a little bit of a cheap product for me, a bit of an easy win, because I use this every day when I wear makeup anyway, so it's not something that I'm kind of forgetting to wear. But I thought, there's not much left of it, why not just put it in the project pan and just get it used up that way. It's a very easy to use, creamy, sheer, buildable bronzing stick. If you like something a bit more pigmented, this might not be for you. I mean, yes, you can build this up, but if you just like a lot of pigment straight away, then you might find this one a little bit frustrating, and that is some of the criticisms I have heard of this bronzing stick. But I like it because it gives a little bit of colour but not like a huge bronzed effect to my skin. But I reckon this product could be used up in the first quarter this year. Next, I have 4 choices for my cream blusher. Firstly, a product that is a cream blusher is by Merit. This is in the shade Terracotta. This is the Flush Balm. I find these to be too sheer. You have to build them up a lot and they don't particularly last for a long amount of time. So as pretty as the colour is and as nice as the initial effect is, I don't like the longevity or the lack of longevity with that product. So that's why I want to get that used up. And then I have 3 House of Colour lipsticks that I bought when I was assigned an autumn. Now I'm a spring, I don't wear these on my lips anymore, I don't wear them as lipsticks, but they're perfectly fine as blushes, so I'm going to use them up as cream blushes in my project pan. Now, I'm wearing brown, wearing shades of brown today, so I suppose the best option would be Soft Amber, which is an orangey brown nude shade, but the rest of the makeup that I have, in particular the eyeshadow, is pink, so I think actually the best option, which doesn't then go with what I'm wearing, but oh well, is Autumn Shimmer, which is a muted pink shade with a little bit of shimmer in there. So actually I'm going to use that one, and that's how much I have of that one left. I will show you how much I have left of the other ones in a moment. But these, well, they are a fairly creamy lipstick. They do work by just drawing on your face, and they blend out really easily as well. They're not stubborn. If these were more of a matte lipstick, I don't think they would work for this purpose, and I would then probably declutter them. But these don't work on me as lipsticks anymore, but they are more than fine to use as blushes. And I did that last year. I had a liquid lipstick from House of Colour, which was a muted, warm brown pink, like an everyday shade. Didn't wear that as a lipstick, I wore that as a liquid blusher. And that worked fine, so you don't always have to use the product in the way it's intended to use. So that's how much I have of Autumn Shimmer. Rust I have the most. This one will take me longer than the others to use up, I think, and also this is quite a bright blush, so I tend to only wear this if I'm wearing something brighter on top or if I'm going for a bright lipstick. And then the one that I have the least of, which will arguably be finished off the soonest, is Soft Amber, and this is great for a natural everyday makeup look, so possibly for work when I'm wearing less obvious makeup, this will probably be the one that I will wear. And then the Flush Balm by Merit is pretty brand new. I've used it a handful of times, but I have most of that left to go. So I reckon, because I'm balancing 4 cream blusher products in my project pan, these will probably be around for the whole year. Not all of them, but I think at least one of them will be here for the whole year or most of the year. There are 3 foundations in my makeup inventory, and I do want to use up all 3 of them this year. So the first one was NARS Sheer Glow. The second one is my Merit Minimalist Stick, and I'm also going to put this one in the project pan as well, because this one is like a 2-in-1 product. You can use it as both your foundation and your concealer. And I finished up my only concealer last year, the Vive Modern Radiance Concealer. So I'm just going to use this as my concealer product, and then that means that I'm able to use 2 foundation products at the same time, but without them competing with each other. So the NARS Sheer Glow is my proper foundation, and then this is my concealer. And this is also fairly new. I've only used this as well like a handful of times. I do not want to twist this all the way up and track my progress that way, because I've heard from so many people that this product has a tendency to fall out of the packaging. So I'm only going to track my progress on this product in terms of usage, like I have done with my NARS Sheer Glow, because I don't want this to fall out, and I'm always really careful with how I take the lid off. I don't ever like yank it off because I don't want the product to go flying out. And I just let that sit for a minute or 2 before I blend it out, and it's a nice creamy blend. It's got a decent amount of coverage as well, and it's a nice product to build up your coverage, so you're really in control of how much product you're using. Okay, not a project pan item, but I'm just going to use a little bit of the Revolution Superfix Super Hold Misting Spray. Also not a project pan item, but I do need to powder a little bit, and I'm going to use my MAC powder. This is the Mineralized Skin Finish Natural in the shade Light. This powder does have a lot of like kickback. When you dip your brush into it, you get a lot of powder like flying up. So it is quite fine, but then it does mean that I do get powder everywhere on my dressing table. There are two powders from this Hourglass Leopard face palette that I would like to use up. I did use up the highlighter last year and it took me a lot quicker than I thought it would to use up, so that's really quite promising. The two powders that I want to use up are this bronzer and also this finishing powder. So we'll start off with the bronzer. I like the colour of this bronzer. It's quite light, not too orange, not too brown, not too muddy. It's quite a natural looking bronzer. But where I've been colour analysed as a True Spring in Carol Brayley's system, for makeup she recommends that only autumns wear bronzer. It's going to look the most harmonious on them. So once I've used up this bronzer and the Merit bronzer, I want to go for a little while without wearing bronzer and see if it makes my makeup look better. So that's why this bronzer is in the project pan, and also similar to the Merit bronzer, I use this one basically every time I wear makeup anyway. So I just thought as well, let's put it in the project pan. Because it would also be interesting as well to track the number of times that I use it and the number of times that it would take to finish it off. But there we go, nothing too overly bronzy, just quite natural. Now for powder blushes, I'm not going to put any in the project pan. I've got 3 in this palette, and then I do also have 2 here by Vive, and I think I just want to dip into whatever powder bronzer I feel like wearing, because I did have these 2 Vive blushes in the project pan last year and I felt, I suppose, obliged to wear these most days because they were in the project pan. But now I just want to dip into whatever powder blusher I feel like wearing, depending on the rest of my makeup, depending on, I don't know, what I'm wearing, what I feel like wearing as well. So today, because I haven't worn this blusher for a long time, I'm going to go for Mood Exposure, which is this one here. From the palette, I was expecting this to be a little bit more plum in colour on my cheeks, but actually it's just pink. That's really quite a pretty shade actually. That's a lot more wearable than I was anticipating it being. Okay, so back to project pan items. I'm going to use some of this finishing powder in the shade Dim Light, but people with my complexion tend to find this too dark as a finishing powder. So they use it as like a blush topper or a highlighter. I've tried it as a finishing powder, don't really like it. Not that it's too dark, but I don't feel like it did anything. So I'm going to use it as highlighter, but I also don't think it does anything as highlighter. I know lots of people really like these finishing powders, but for me, it doesn't do anything. Like, is that even doing anything? Does that look different? I don't know. This is a pretty flat pan though, so this one won't take me long to use up at all. And empty in the first quarter, I'm gonna say. I have 2 eye products in the project pan. Firstly is an eyeliner by Victoria Beckham. It's in the shade Cinnamon, which is a warm dark brown, and there's not a lot left of it. This one I've put in the project pan because I tend to go through phases of wearing an eyeliner. It's not like a necessity in my makeup collection. I'm perfectly fine not having any eyeliner pencils. I do sometimes think it is handy to have a brown one, and I have sometimes been putting it in the waterline. I will try and tightline with it today, but I just feel like I can easily neglect this product and forget that I have it. So I thought, let's put it in my project pan so I can remind myself that I have it and I can use it regularly. And these are really nice eyeliners as well. They're really creamy. So for other colours that I've had in the past, I've worn them as eyeshadows and blended them out, and they were just really easy to use. They are pricey, but I do kind of think they're worth it. And then for eyeshadow, I'm going to include my mini Giorgio Armani eye tint in the shade Rose Gold, which I got as a free gift when I got a perfume of theirs last birthday or Christmas. It was the Giorgio Armani Rouge Malachite perfume, and this came as a sample. And I have wanted to try one of these eye tints for quite some time, so it's quite fortunate that I got a free sample of it in a mini as well, so I'm not committed to having a full-size version of it. And that's quite handy as well because this has a short shelf life. This has a 6-month shelf life. And for something like a liquid eyeshadow, I feel like you do have to kind of stick to that 6 months. I feel like this could potentially dry out. So that's why this is in the project pan, because I really like it and I want to get it used up by using it. I don't want to not include it in the project pan and use it infrequently and then find out that it's dried up because it's months out of date. So this way I'm getting it used frequently, and it's such a pretty colour. Like, that's a really lovely light warm rose gold shade. And also this will be fine for work makeup as well because it's just a light wash of colour. It's nothing too obvious or too intense. I wear makeup every day, but sometimes with my work makeup I don't always want to be wearing anything hugely obvious. And these eye tints are also really easy to use. You can use a brush like I'm using, or you can blend it out with your finger. Just really pretty. And then to put some under my lower lash line, I just wipe a bit on the back of my hand, take a flat brush, pick up some of the product, and then pop it on that way. Now you could leave it there, but I have this MAC single eyeshadow in the shade All That Glitters, and it's very, very similar in colour to the eye tint. So whenever I've got the eye tint on, I do put some of the MAC over the top, just to, I suppose, kind of help set it a bit more. It doesn't need help setting, but I think I just like to layer it and just have a little bit more intensity from the eyeshadow. I did think about putting this eyeshadow in the project pan as well, but for some reason or other decided against it. I will be using it fairly frequently because I'll be using the eye tint, and I wear these together pretty much every time I wear the eye tint, but it can stay out of the project pan, that's fine. Right, last little spray with the Revolution setting spray, and then I will finish my eyes with a bit of mascara and show you the last project pan item. Firstly, just curling my lashes and popping on a bit of mascara. This is the Maybelline Sky High mascara in the shade True Brown, although I would say it's still quite a dark brown. And I don't think I would buy this mascara again. I think this is the second or even third tube of mascara of this that I've had. I mean, it's looking quite nice today actually, typically. But I've not been too keen on how this has looked previously. It's quite wet, quite heavy, difficult to separate my lashes. But typically, because I'm putting it on camera, this is going on fine. Lastly, lips. I'm going to line my lips with the Lisa Eldridge lip liner in the shade 1W. She has warm, neutral and cool toned lip liners, so for Christmas I got 1W and 2W. I do want to do a video as well where I put on a full face of makeup that I got from birthday or Christmas, or enough of a full face of makeup. And then final project pan item is a Lisa Eldridge lipstick. This is in the shade Kitten Mischief, which is a warm toned peachy pink, but on me it can sometimes pull a little bit neutral and it can look a bit more like a summer toned lipstick. So this is in the project pan because there's not much left of it. I really like the colour, but I want to move away from sort of sticking to sort of neutral kind of colours like this and go for something a bit more spring appropriate, like the corals and much warmer pinks. But it goes really nicely with that lip liner from Lisa Eldridge as well. This is a great lipstick for work as well because it's quite a sort of pared back lip colour, and where I don't have much of it, I feel like I could get through this one definitely in the first quarter of this year. And there we go, that is the final look. So this is my full face of makeup that is in my project pan that is kicking off my 2025 project pan. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you like this kind of different style of project pan video. I will be sticking to the regular formats though for the monthly check-in videos because obviously I will need to show you guys the progress. But for the introductory one, there isn't anything in terms of progress, so I thought something like this, doing a full face of makeup, would be a little bit more interesting. If you are doing a project pan this year, please let me know what items you're including. I tend to really only just stick to makeup, but I know some people like to have a little bit of everything in there in terms of other beauty products. So let me know what's included in yours. Wishing you the best of luck with it as well. And I will see you very soon for my next one. Bye.